Good evening, Miles and CMF. How are you, Tor? I'm doing great. How you doing? How you been, Tor? What's up, brother? Been all good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Case take long? Yeah, the case is taking a little bit long, but it's expected. But we are at the end results of this case, so it's just results, in other words. Hyper Snapper, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, Professor Miles. Funky brother, good to see you as well. How you doing? Hi, Miles and CMF. FA, good to see you as well. How you doing? Doing good. Extremely tired. How you been, brother? How was your day? It was good. Very busy day. Hi, Miles and all CMF. Bait and Bailey, good to see you as well. How you doing? I'm consolidating like the market. Let's go to Dennis. Hi, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well, Dennis. How you doing? Mike. Good day, Miles. And how was your day? It was good, Mike. How was your day? Hey, Miles. How you doing? I'm doing great, Daniel. How you doing? Manny. Good evening. Good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been? Thank you so much to everyone that's been retweeting the live show as well. I'm getting notifications back to back on X regarding the retweets. So thank you so much to everyone that's retweeting the live show on X as well. So today we do have a mixture of news to go through on tonight's live show. We have news regarding the CFTC and the recent crypto case they've closed up, and a new fine that the CFTC has received or is going to be receiving. We're going to be talking about APTOS regarding a leak that's going on, or a bug that's going on, of a $5 million bug. So if you're holding this particular crypto project, maybe they will patch it for time being, but there could be some more downside, who knows. But we're also going to be talking about Turkey as well, how they're banning essentially futures trading cryptocurrencies and how the regulations are coming in hard in Turkey. We're also going to be talking about the House and how they've essentially overturned the SEC's anti-crypto guidance, and Biden said he's going to be vetoing it, but the House has turned it around so far. We're going to be talking about the Australian tax laws regarding cryptocurrency. It's not just Australia we're going to talk about, a few other countries as well, that the tax laws for cryptocurrencies are coming through. And also that the Australian government is now going to be working with the crypto exchanges to make sure everybody's paying their taxes. We're also going to talk about multiple senators as well on this live show as well regarding the DOJ and regarding privacy projects and privacy tokens and so on. We're going to be going through that on tonight's live show as well. We're going to talk about Tether CEO and Ripple's CEO. Apparently, there's a feud going on between Tether's CEO and Ripple's CEO. The battles of the stable coins is, essentially what we're going to be calling it. The battle of the stable coins between Tether's CEO, USDT, and Ripple's unannounced stablecoin. We're going to be talking about the Solana market space and regarding a manager, a Ryan, who is a chief investment officer for a cryptocurrency fund manager from Tree Capital, has given his opinions on Solana's outcome. We're going to talk about Hong Kong and regarding the outflows that's happened in Hong Kong today as well on tonight's live show. A bit of a coordinated movement from institutions. We're going to be talking about VanEck on tonight's live show as well regarding reports of VanEck is doing well, incredibly well, regarding their Bitcoin ETFs. We're going to be talking about two major banks that are entering the crypto space that are also holding cryptocurrencies according to their ETF essentially outcomes, according to their F13 filings that we just now know of. We're going to be talking about the investment firm that's going to be going headfirst into Bitcoin and using it as a shield completely against inflation. We're going to be talking about billionaire Tim Draper, how he's essentially put a $3.5 million investment into Bitcoin regarding lending protocols, lending and borrowing. It's a service that's going to be offered worldwide in terms of other cryptocurrencies as well. We're going to be talking about the massive Bank of Montreal and how they're entering the crypto space on a whole new level. We're going to be talking about El Salvador on tonight's live show as well, how they're the first country to show full transparency of their government usage regarding where their money goes towards, which is an interesting one, never seen before. So, on tonight's live show, we have a mixture of news to go through. But before we do that, Welcome to the CMF Live Show. If this is your first time watching the CMF Live Show, we talk about recent news that's happening around the world. We talk about cryptocurrencies, CBDCs, and politics, and even AI, because it all wraps in together in this whole new digital era we're going to be living in together, everyone. And the disclaimer of this live show, as always, is not financial advice, not political advice, and whatever I say is only for entertainment purposes. And we also do Q&As, which means if you have any questions, put it down inside the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions you may have. So if you're new, welcome to the CMF Live Show. If you're regular, let's go CMF. Before I go through the first news, let's go inside the comment section just in case any questions beforehand. Miles, I knew all the big institutions are coming into BTC, but when is the market going to pump? Very, very soon, but the manipulation is still there. Markets go up a bit, then they drop again. It's a bit frustrating. Okay, Funky Brother. I know it's a statement you're making, but it's also a type of a question as well. So regarding what Funky Brother has just said, markets go. So Funky Brother has said, Miles, I know that the big institutions are coming into BTC. It's true because I'm telling everyone day by day who's coming in and who's holding BTC. But when does the markets are going to pump and markets go up in a bit and then they drop again? It's a bit frustrating. It's because they're touring with you. The institutions are playing with you. Day by day, we're finding out who's actually inside the market space regarding BTC ETFs. A lot of institutions were very silent on holding BTC ETFs, incredibly silent. But they can't be silent because there are 13 filings now. And we know who holds and who doesn't. Day by day, we're getting a better awareness of who's actually holding outside. Now, regarding why they, raising the market a bit and then dropping it a bit, raising a bit, dropping a bit, is because, as I said a while ago on this live show, it almost seems to me like the dollar cost averaging into the market space is what I said about 2 months ago on this live show. I said the institutions are pushing the market down a bit and they're coming in, a bit and they're coming in. It almost seems like the dollar cost averaging, the touring with the retail section to put them in the frustration mode. And I said to everybody, the last straw for a retail member is frustration. That makes them do the most wildest things and most likely jump out their positions. So don't get frustrated. They're just touring with you. The institutions are heavy-footed inside the crypto space. Believe it, because their 13F filings are showing it. But they're just touring with you. They're trying to put you in that stage of frustration. The stages that every investor goes through, as I've said before, is the greed stage you go through, and then you go through the fear news, the panic news, the fake news, and then you get the last straw for anyone is frustration. And they know this. The institutions know this, but they're touring with you. They're pushing the market down a little bit and then buying it, a little bit and then buying it, a little bit and then buying it, because they're touring with you. We know they're holding. We know they're going to go heavy-footed. We're seeing the contracts. They're just messing with you. And I said the second part, you've got to have kahunas for the second part. I said this. And people can quote me on this as well from the CMF. I said if you want to go for the second part, you've got to have kahunas because they're going to throw everything they have at you. And it seems like they're going for the option of touring with the retail section by pushing down a little bit, buying in, pushing down a little bit, buying in. So don't let frustration kick in. I said this to everybody. Don't let frustration kick in. That's the last step. No emotions. Come on, good to see you as well, brother. How you doing? Does this judge have a certain amount of time to make a decision? Roughly, no, but there's nothing left. There's literally nothing left. Morning, Miles and CMF. Shelly, good to see you as well. How you doing? Well, obviously, she can't take years to give a response. She has to give it at least this year. There's literally nothing left on this case. Within 2 weeks, she should be given a response. Estimate. If they want to stretch it, a month, 2 months. Giving up to next year, no possible help. Thank you, Miles, for that clarification and a little huggy. I think I needed that. No problem, Funky Brother, anytime. And Shelly, good to see you all morning. How you doing? So, first news of the day is Falcon X. Another crypto type of platform has been taken down by the CFTC. Falcon X settles with the CFTC for a $1.8 million, essentially over failure to register as a Futures Commission merchant. Falcon X will pay $1.8 million to settle a newly announced essentially charges from the Commodities Futures and Trading Commission (CFTC) that the crypto trading firm violated regarding commodities laws by failing to register as a Futures Commission merchant (FCM), according to a Monday announcement from the regulator CFTC. Through its Edge product, Falcon X acted as a crypto prime broker offering institutional clients, including some based inside the United States, with access to various crypto exchanges to essentially trade derivatives, including futures and swaps, And the CFTC said in a press release on Monday, through FalconX describes itself as the largest digital asset prime brokerage. It was not properly registered with the CFTC. One of the FalconX's portfolio companies, FalconX Bravo, has been registered with the CFTC as a swap dealer since last August, according to a Monday settlement agreement. The way in which FalconX conducted businesses for its institutional clients meant that accurate Know Your Customer (KYC) information was often not provided at the crypto exchanges FalconX was trading with. However, with the CFTC filed suit against Binance, its former CEO CZ, for similar offenses in March 2023, FalconX voluntarily changed and enhanced its approach to collecting consumer identifying information, including requiring customers to identify the location of their assets, ultimately beneficial owners, the location of their corporate headquarters, and the location of employees controlling the Investor Edge account. After these new stricter KYC requirements were put in place, FalconX told CFTC that the Edge lost half of its customers. In its settlement agreement, the CFTC said that FalconX remediation efforts, as well as a substantial cooperation with the investigation, resulted in a lower penalty than that could have been otherwise been imposed. FalconX must pay $1.1 million plus in some fines and $589,000 plus in civil penalties and must cease and desist from acting as an unregistered FCM. FalconX did not respond to CoinDesk's request for a comment by press time. So, another exchange type of brokerage. This brokerage also worked with multiple other crypto platforms out there regarding moving about crypto assets in simple terms, and FalconX is now paying a fine to the CFTC. This is not good and not bad, but do you know what it is? It shows that we're getting closer to that regulation stage, much more closer to that regulation stage. The more they start filtering out the crypto space and start finding or not finding or handing out licensings, it means we're getting closer and closer to that regulation stage is what we want to be at. Regarding the next news is from Certic. And if you don't know what Certic is, essentially they go around and check if these crypto projects are secure enough for you to be moving assets into them and out of them. Now, Certic discovered a $5 million security flaw in a wormhole bridge on APTOS, and quite a lot of people hold this particular crypto project. Before we read that news, let's go inside the comment section. Hi CMF, I can finally comment and see the comments. Let's go. Stormy, how you doing? How you been? Hello Miles and CMF. Coin, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening Miles and family. Orphan, good to see you as well. How you doing? So, next news is this. Certic discovered a $5 million security flaw. A security flaw in the wormhole bridge on APTOS network could have resulted in a $5 million worth of losses had not been discovered. To a social media post from blockchain security platform Certic, the platform claimed to have discovered the bug and reported to the wormhole bridge team before it could be damaged in a way, essentially, from hackers going into it. The flaw has been patched and the bridge is no longer vulnerable. APTOS is a blockchain network that uses Move program language, which was originally developed by Facebook for the Libra project. Supporters of Move claim that that is a safer language to write smart contracts when compared to Ethereum, Solidify, or other alternatives. The Certic report was posted in the form of a video. It claimed the flaw arose from an incorrect implementation of the public/friend and entry modifiers in the Move program language. Now, there is quite a list of crypto projects that do use the Move language. So that means if APTOS was compromised in some sort of a way for $5 million or $10 million, then so can multiple other crypto projects. Now, the modifier allows a function to be called by the functions within the same module or by external accounts, simplified a friend list, but not by other callers. On the other hand, the entry modifier specifies a function and can be called by external accounts. The bridge contained a function called publish_event, which was used to announce events such as token transfers. It will only supposed to be accountable of functions within some modules or by certain specific external entities. However, the version of the bridge that Certic studied the function was modified by both public, friend, and entry. This made it possible for anyone to publish event even if they were not approved caller. In a very simple term, this basically means anybody could have printed more tokens, fake tokens. Because of this flaw, an attacker could have created fake transactions that appeared to move tokens from one account to another, even though no actual tokens were being moved. These events could have caused the Ethereum version of the bridge to mint or unlock tokens without having real deposits backing them on the AP2OS side. As a result, the attackers could have drained up to $5 million minimum or maximum funds from the bridge, Certic stated. In addition to removing the entry keyword from the publish underlined event function, the new patch also restricted the value of the governor rate limits, effectively essentially preventing withdrawals from AP2OS of greater than $1 million per day. This was done to limit losses in case of failure exploits. Essentially, current usage of below $1 million per setter claimed, implying that the rate limit shouldn't affect most users. If you are holding the crypto project APTOS, and some other crypto projects that do use the move language as well, if you're having difficulties moving this particular crypto project around, it's because it was just about to become compromised. About 5 million or 10 million or even $20 million of compromisation. So they stopped essentially moving about on regarding this token. So if you're holding this token, don't worry about it. They're patching things up and they're going to be perfectly fine moving forward. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is the unexpected development in cryptocurrency regulation in Turkey. Leverage trading is expected to be banned in Turkey. Now, this is big-ish. It's quite big because I'll tell you why as we go through it. But before we go through it, let's go inside the comment section. Good evening, Miles and family. Orphan, let's go. Freedom Feather, good evening, Miles and CMF. Good to see you as well. How you doing, Freedom Feather? Evening, Miles and Crypto Peeps. Semper, good to see you as well. How you doing? How you been, Semper? Now, unexpected developments in cryptocurrency regulation in Turkey. Leverage trading could be banned, or is expected to be banned in Turkey. The bill prepared on the legal regulations and definitions of crypto assets is ready to be presented to the parliament with its final touches. Now, you might think, well, it's just Turkey, it's not really a big issue, but a humongous amount of crypto volume, purchase volume, inflow volume comes from Turkey's market space because the Turkish lira is terribly doing, it's doing incredibly bad, the Turkish lira. So Turkish essentially citizens do often go towards cryptocurrencies and billions of dollars do get poured into the market from Turkish side. Now, if they're going to be restricting people regarding futures, next could be restricting people from crypto access, and we could see how that turns out. The proposal, which is expected to be presented to Parliament this week, will ban short selling and leverage transactions regarding crypto assets. Now, there's another scenario why they're doing this, but I'll tell you in a bit. Crypto assets will be defined as intangible assets for the first time. Thus, transactions can be carried out in a more transparent and reliable manner. The bill to be presented to the Parliament will harmonize the broad definition of crypto assets with the definitions of international organizations. And another reason why they're doing, essentially regarding short and long in the market is not allowed and only spot is allowed is because the market becomes less volatile at the same time also. So when there's too many traders doing short or too many traders doing long, the market becomes increasingly volatile as well. I'll tell you why as well. The authority to determine the issuance principles will be given to the Capital Markets Board, CMB. The licenses and auditing process of trading platforms will also be managed by the CMB. Minimum operating requirements similar to financial institutions will be introduced for service providers. All transfer transactions made on the platform will be recorded and compliance with the regulations determined by the Financial Crimes Investigation Board, MASAK, will be ensured. Since sudden and large fluctuations may occur in the price of crypto assets, margin transactions, short sales, and leverage transactions that increase the risk will be prohibited. Okay, this is what I was going to say regarding why they're doing this. Another reason why they're really doing, trying to ban shorting and long in the market when it comes to cryptocurrencies is because when you short and long the market, especially traders, a lot of traders do this worldwide, the crypto market becomes extremely volatile. The crypto market is already volatile as it is, but when you have too many traders shorting and too many traders long in the market, it becomes extremely volatile. And because day by day we have more institutions coming inside the market space, and the crypto market space is going to become a very mature place with regulations and banks in the middle of it and massive corporations coming inside the crypto space. And if they want to make it a mature place for assets, then it needs to be not as volatile as it is. And by eliminating the factor of shorting and long in the market becomes not stable, but it becomes stabler than before when everybody was on leverage trading. So they're doing this mostly for the institutions coming inside the play. It's stated that similar probations and restrictions have been introduced in practices abroad. So it's not just Turkey doing this. Other jurisdictions around the world are thinking about banning shorting and long in the market as well, because then the crypto space becomes less volatile. Not fully volatile, but less volatile. Secondary regulations will be made on investment constantly, and portfolio managements and the CMB will be authorized in that regards. Due to the risky nature of crypto asset investments, no insurance mechanisms will be created for trading transactions. These transactions will exhibit from investor compensation. In the draft law, the crime of unauthorized crypto asset service providers is defined and penalties are foreseen for those that who operate without permission from the CMB. So, if you want to operate as a crypto exchange, essentially in Turkey, now all of these crypto exchanges in Turkey have to get some sort of a license to be able to operate in Turkey moving forward. But also, the main factor, which could be seen as a positive in a way, is that with Turkey and other jurisdictions going for the idea of banning longing and shorting the markets, means that one, they're trying to make the crypto space a bit more of a mature space. Two, regulations are coming in, which means more money enters from the institutions and corporations. Now, the only reason the corporations and the banks and so on would enter the crypto space even more is if they can control the market in some sort of a way. These institutions and these banks want to come heavy-footed inside the crypto space. How do we know this? Because of their 13F filings that shows that they are holding crypto assets, but they're very silent on it. So they do want to come heavy-footed inside the crypto space, but they can't come in when it's extremely volatile place. But by eliminating regarding longing and shorting the market regarding futures, it becomes less volatile. So it means that they can come heavy-footed inside the crypto space, and they could be the ones in control of it more than the retail section is what they're trying to do. So it seems as a good idea, but also a bad idea because the retail section can't make money on trading regarding futures. But also the institutions will come in with a lot more money if you're positioned in a very good project. So there's a positive and a negative towards it. Depends on how you look at it. If you're a trader, you might see this as a negative. If you're a type of person that's holding the legitimate projects, it's a positive if they're doing this, because that means institutions are going to get prepared to come in heavy-footed and the regulations are right after it, or in between it, or before it, by eliminating the futures trading. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is this. House of it, and they did state, even Turkey did state that by doing this, we're going to make it less volatile because there's already too much volatile space. House overturns SEC anti-crypto guidance, Biden to veto it. Now, the House was able to overturn the SEC's anti-crypto, but then there's obviously the issue of Sleepy Joe, which we're going to go through next on tonight's live show. Just put my iPhone in charge. Sorry about this, everyone. Now, before we do that, let's go inside the comment section as well. Good evening, Miles and family. Anna, good to see you as well. How you doing? Denise, good to see you as well. How you doing? Good evening, all. How you been? Anna and Denise, good to see you. The Muslims think that futures trading is forbidden. Some of them like lottery. Well, yeah, it is. It's pure gamble when you do futures trading. Now, House overturns SEC's anti-crypto guidance. The United States House of Representatives has voted to pass a bill overturning the controversial Securities and Exchange Commission SEC guidance. They have voted now. Now, we were talking about a few days ago that they're going to be doing the voting, and they have voted, and they're trying to overturn it now. The House voted to pass a bill titled HJ Res 109, overturning the SEC's Special Accounting Bulletin 121 SAB 121, requiring banks to hold their customers' crypto assets on their balance sheets, which is not the case for traditional assets such as securities. Republican Party Representative Mike Flood, who introduced the resolution, said SAB 121 was unfamiliar for banks looking to custody crypto, as custodial assets are always considered off balance sheets. However, before the vote, US President Joe Biden office issued a statement informing lawmakers and the public that his administration plans to veto a joint. Now, he did mention this a few days ago, but he's actually went through with it. That he would veto a joint resolution affecting crypto policies at the crypto policies at the SEC if it comes to his desk. the White House said strongly, this is what they said, word for word, they said, strongly opposes members of the House Representatives seeking to pass a joint resolution. It claims it would disrupt the SEC's efforts to protect investors in crypto asset markets and to safeguard the broader financial system. What efforts? The SEC has made zero efforts, the same as Sleepy Joe has made zero efforts for the United States. Both of them, Gary the Weasel and Sleepy Joe, they've both made zero efforts for anybody inside the United States. I mean, at least we can see what Sleepy Joe's angle is at. Sleepy Joe is making money for himself. At least we know where he stands. You know, we know he's a crook. We know Sleepy Joe's a crook, but at least we know he's making money for himself. What is Gary the Weasel doing except wasting everybody's time and taxpayers' money? Because he isn't making money. Gary Gensler is not making money for himself. He's just wasting everybody's time. At least we know Sleepy Joe is, ripping people off. We know what he's doing. But, both of them, absolute waste of space. Now, Australian Tax Office seeks data from 1.2 million crypto exchange users, report. Before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Finally, someone is doing it. It will reduce the risk of assets. No more buy and sell. Yeah, pretty much. Mouse. Here we go. I'm starting to love the Republicans. Let's go, Stormy. Miles and CMF, how are you today? I'm doing great, Lena. How you doing? How you been? Long, sleepy joke. Sleepy joke. The next sleepy joke to go on tonight's live show is this one. Australian Tax Office. Now, as I said previously, Australia is not the only one doing this, but Australian Tax Office seeks data from 1.2 million crypto exchange users, report. So the Australian government is going after crypto exchanges and telling them basically, if you have Australian citizens using your crypto platform, please tell us so we can, start the tax process. The personal and crypto transaction related details could help identify users who failed to report their tax obligations according to the Australian Tax Office. Australia's tax office reportedly seeks personal data and transaction details from up to 1.2 million cryptocurrency exchange users for a potential crackdown on crypto tax obligations. The Australian Taxation Office, ATO, said that the data will help identify traders who may have failed to pay their taxes on their crypto trades, according to a notice issued last month, essentially by the Australian government, and now they're going through with it. The ATO will be seeking personal data, including users' date of birth, social media accounts, and phone numbers, as well as transaction-related details like wallet addresses, type of coin trades, and bank account details, is what the Australian government is asking from all these exchanges. For Australian regulators, cryptocurrencies are taxable assets. Unlike other foreign currencies, this requires traders to pay a capital gains tax on the profit from sold crypto assets. The complex nature of cryptocurrency space can lead to a lack of awareness when it comes to tax obligations, according to the ATO's notice. This is what they said, word for word. The ability to purchase crypto assets using false information may make them attractive to those seeking to avoid their tax obligations. So if you are using fake records to buy cryptocurrencies, it gets a bit of a worrying issue for some people. A global crypto tax crackdown may be incoming. Now, again, this isn't just for Australia, because there are warnings out there that a global type of event regarding crypto tax evasions is on the way for majority of jurisdictions. Australia isn't the only jurisdiction seeking to collect unpaid taxes from digital asset gains. On Monday, so today in other words, the Director General of the Canada's Revenue Agency, CRA Compliance Branch, Soleil, said that the agency is conducting over 400 crypto-related audits and essentially investigating hundreds of crypto investors to secure unpaid crypto taxes, according to a report by the National Post. These latest audits come on top of the suspected $39.5 million worth of unpaid taxes, which the Canadian Tax Agency believes are still due from the fiscal year of 2023 and 2024. In Turkey, the government is expected to introduce crypto-related legislations later this year as well. The new bill is expected to provide a legal foundation for crypto taxes in Turkey, which is a leading crypto economy. In the United States, regulators are aiming to raise the long-term capital gains tax rate to 44.6%, but only for investors earning over $1 million per year. So it's okay for anybody that's earning less than that. The same federal budget proposal from the Biden administration also included a 25% tax on unrealized gains for ultra high net worth individuals. For 99.9% of people, it's a big fat nothing burger because it's essentially just a proposal. Matthew Warren, founder of Crypto Tax Made Easy, told Cointelegraph, which is true. You see, it's self-snitching. If you want to self-snitch on yourself regarding your crypto taxes, then it's up to you. Now, if you are, trading, buying, selling, in other words, then obviously you're going to be due some taxes when the exchanges do snitch on you, essentially. But if you hold your crypto, this is why, obviously paying your taxes you should always do. But you should always be paying your taxes. But you should always have a cold storage wallet as well. You should always have a cold storage wallet. And if you're holding crypto assets on exchanges, crypto exchanges can freeze and seize your assets until you pay your taxes, if it gets to that stage. So you should always also hold a cold storage wallet. Now, it is also based on self-snitching. If you really want to snitch on yourself, completely voluntarily, it's completely up to you. Or you can, if you're just buying and holding, but if you're doing the other situation regarding buying and selling, you're probably going to come on the list a lot more quicker. But it's also if the exchanges start snitching, so we'll see how that progresses so far. So when it comes to crypto tax, we'll see how that progresses. Obviously, if you want to see an accountant, even better. Now, next news to go from tonight's live show. Let's not talk too much regarding taxes. The next news to go from tonight's live show is regarding Senator Cynthia Lummis opposes the Justice Department's stance on Tornado Cash charges. Is what we're going to go next regarding privacy coins. But before we do that, let's go inside the comment section. By the way, if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'm reading everybody's comments one by one. Gary loves the limelight for the wrong reasons. He might be on commission basis. You never know. But to be honest with you, Gary has not won any case, which is also true. Miles, do you think Sleepy Joe actually knows that he's the president of the United States? No. Genuinely no. There's no chance. I can bet my life on it that Sleepy Joe doesn't even know he's Sleepy Joe. Forget about President of the United States. I can bet my life on it that Sleepy Joe doesn't even know he's Sleepy Joe. I feel like when someone says Joe Biden, he looks around. As if, they're talking to him, but he doesn't know that. Everyone wants our claim. They thought crypto was a joke, but they are like sharks after tax. I think was dead. They do. All these governments, they do want that crypto tax money, pay-ups, essentially. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is this one. So, Senator Cynthia Lummis and opposes the Justice Department's stance on Tornado Cash charges. Now, this is a very complex situation. The United States Senator Cynthia Lummis and Ron Wyden have sent a letter to the Attorney General, Merrick Garland, voicing their concerns over the Justice Department, the DOJ, interpretation of money transmission licensing. As the authors indicated, a footnote of essentially is being applied in the case against Roman Storm, the co-founder of the crypto mixer Tornado Cash. Now, obviously, they're not the only ones in this picture, who has been charged with operating an unlicensed money transmission operation, essentially, on other serious crimes. The Bank Secrecy Act and Treasury Department Financial Crimes Enforcement Network, FinCEN, clearly define money transmission of currency and other forms of value. Non-custodial crypto service providers do not meet the established definition of money transmitters, and the DOJ is thus acting on the contrary to the Treasury, muddying the policy enforcement, and senators said in their words. This is what a senator said to the DOJ. Bitcoin have a clear unrelated owner at all times. At no point in the transfer transaction process is there uncertainty over whether ownership resides. Custody and control are therefore the logical touchstone on where the acceptance and transmission occurs on Bitcoin and the other crypto networks. FinCEN is the primary imperative authority of money transmission registration requirements. The standards suggested by the DOJ could be applied to a broad range of services, from internet service providers that process bank transfers to the post office, and the senator essentially wrote. Crypto advocacy groups filed a joint brief in April with the Southern New York District Court making a similar argument. Lawyers for Storm filed a motion to dismiss the charges against him in March, saying Tornado Cash did not meet the definition of a money transmission business, and Storm was unable to prevent sanctioned groups from using the service because it was not within his hands. It's just the software. Prosecutors essentially said that Storm was accountable for operating the services and claimed he designed software to aid criminal behavior. They said Tornado Cash was involved in the transportation and transmission of funds known to be defendants to have been derived from criminal offenses. It is true, a lot of people do use essentially Tornado to wash their crypto. Storm was arrested in August on charges of sanction violations of listing money laundering, essentially, in addition to unlicensed money transmission. He could be punished for up to 45 years in prison. That is a lot. He has been pleaded not guilty to the charges and is free on a $2 million bail with travel restrictions. Okay, regarding what's happening to Tornado Cash is a bigger issue. Okay, and the bigger issue is that, yes, Tornado Cash was designed for illicit activities. It's very obvious. If you're designing a platform where people could put crypto into the blender and it comes out the other way in a very simple manner, then yes, you are technically creating a platform that could be used for ML, in other words. Not AML, ML. Money laundering, in other words. So yeah, it's true. But the bigger issue is regarding privacy projects is that they don't like the idea of people from the retail section using privacy projects. And that's a big worry because everybody should be entitled to some sort of privacy. Definitely. Especially when it comes to money. Privacy coins is all we have going inside of a digital world to complete, essentially freedom of what we can do and what we can't do. Cryptocurrencies obviously give us that option as well, other than CBDCs being the complete opposite. But the issue is, you see, governments are trying to take away your privacy. So they're starting with Tornado Cash, then they're going to probably go after Monero. It's on the list, Dash, and everybody else, because they've already started, telling these platforms, these crypto platforms, to delist the privacy coins. Now, the big issue arises that governments are trying to stop the retail section from using private blockchains, for example. The governments want the people to use public blockchains, which I get. Transparency, sure, okay. But then the bigger issue is the government is going to be operating on a private and a public blockchain. So they're trying to essentially say the people with virtually little amount of money or huge amount of money, depending on what part of the retail section you are, lower class, middle class, upper class, the people can't be trusted with money and they might do illicit activities. So privacy coins are bad because it's private blockchains and so on, and we can't see what they're doing. And that's why the people, the retail section, should not be able to use privacy projects. But then the government is going to be operating on a private and a public blockchain. So the government can be trusted on using money privately. Now, the last time I checked, nobody from the retail section started wars or funded wars or started pandemics or anything above it. So who can really be trusted with private money? The people or the government? Because in the government's eyes, they can be trusted with private money because they're going to have private blockchains and public blockchains. But the people aren't allowed to have private blockchains because they can't be trusted with money, because the people might do illicit activities. As far as people goes with illicit activities, the most illicit activities people will do is, not paying taxes. The regular person, if they want to do something illicit, they'll probably just do skipping taxes. But if the government wants to do illicit activities, it's funding wars and creating pandemics, and it goes beyond that as well. So I think the people could be trusted more with private money than the government can. If we're going to go on a full transparency basis, then, fair enough. Let's go public for both sides. Let's go full transparency on governments, full transparency on people. I'm all for that. Everybody's on a public blockchain. Let's do that instead. Not one group has private and public, which is the government, and then one group can only have public, which is the retail. Because that's not fair. Because the people don't stop the other scenarios. So honestly, this ideology that they're going on right now, where the people can't be trusted on private blockchains, because and so on and so on, it's just crazy. Because honestly, the max illicit activity someone will do from the retail section is skip taxes, and that doesn't affect nobody except the government. But then they're printing money. So even if you skip taxes, for example, inside the United States, according to Biden's administration, they print the dollars anyways. What difference does it make? So honestly, the retail section, I'm telling you right now, the max illicit activities they could possibly do on a major scale is skip taxes. But then the governments on private blockchains, they're going to be funding wars, pandemics, creating scenarios, creating problems. I mean, ask yourself the question, who can be trusted on public blockchain? You or Sleepy Joe? And the answer isn't going to be Sleepy Joe. Honestly, who would you rather have on a public blockchain? You or Sleepy Joe? On a private blockchain. Now, before we go through the next comments, because it is crazy how they're trying to fully get rid of privacy, private blockchains moving forward for the retail section, but it's okay for them to operate on both private and public. Tether, there's a feud going on right now between Tether's CEO and Ripple's CEO. Now, it's because of what Ripple's CEO said. So, Ripple's CEO recently did a podcast. Before I obviously read out the full news, I'll just give it the gist. Ripple's CEO recently did a podcast, and on that podcast, he said that the US government is going to be aiming to arrest or go for, in his opinion, 100% in his opinion, they're going to be going for Tether. USDT and Tether is going to be taken down by the US government, is what the CEO of Ripple said. And according to the headlines, the Tether CEO claps back at the Ripple CEO. So the Tether USDT CEO claps back at Ripple CEO, which we'll go through right now. So there's a feud going on between these two CEOs. So it's Ripple CEO versus Tether CEO right now on the battle of the stablecoins. They're clapping back at each other. Apparently, they're just throwing shady comments at each other. We'll go through that, but before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Pierce, good to see you as well. How you doing? Even if I was a CMF, good to see you, brother. How you been? Sorry, I'm laughing at my own comment. Very good point, Miles. And the trusting retail. Yep. Let's go. Free and fair. Taxation without representation is theft. Pretty much. Sorry, Miles. I had to switch to YouTube as I couldn't type my comments. It was showing that I have no internet connection. That's a bit odd. Double standards from the governments, pretty much. We talked about this last year. Yes, we did, JP. Facts. JP, yes, we did. We talked about essentially USDT. On this live show, me and JP did talk about last year USDT. They could be, essentially on the verge of being taken down. By the looks of it, it was getting closer and closer to that. So could this be the black swan event that Ripple CEO said 100% is guaranteed to happen in his opinions? So Tether's CEO rallied up by suggestion. USDT is a target of US government. USDT. Tether's CEO posted a lengthy post to X today, an apparent effort to rally against any notions that his company's stablecoin is insecure in any way. This is what he said, word for word. An ununified CEO leading a company being investigated by the SEC. They're throwing shade at Ripple. They're literally throwing shade at Brad, the CEO of Ripple, because of what the comments he made on a podcast about 3 nights ago. So this is what Tether CEO said. Honestly, word for word. Just listen to the first part. An ununiformed CEO leading a company being investigated by the SEC, which is Ripple essentially being investigated by the SEC, launching a competitive stablecoin, Ripple stablecoin, is being reported spreading fear about USDT. The CEO of essentially Tether said. Now, he failed to name the CEO in question. We all know it's Brad. But all signs appear to point to Ripple's CEO, Brad. Ripple is engaged in a lawsuit with the Securities and Exchange Commission and also recently announced it would be launching its own stablecoin, which will be direct competition with Tether's USDT coin, the world's largest, essentially largest by market share. Now, Brad, while speaking on the podcast on YouTube last Thursday, said, this is what Brad said. He basically said the US government is going after Tether. That is clear to me, is what Brad said, word for word. And while speaking, essentially, he also said, I view Tether as a very important part of the ecosystem. He said also, while Brad's comments appear to suggest that he is not against Tether, his sentiments echoed those of Ripple's CTO David Schwartz, who, while speaking about his company launching of its own stablecoin in April, told the block that Tether is almost a no-go for his company because of the regulatory issues, adding there is just so much uncertainty around Tether's stablecoin. And again, this is, David Schwartz as well. So it's not just Brad saying 100% Tether is being investigated by the United States government. And this could cause a massive black swan event inside the crypto space. It is USDT. And we also had David Schwartz, CTO of Ripple Labs, throwing shade on Tether as well. But I don't see it as shade. Now, to explain why. So Schwartz said the cross-border payments company had used Circle's USDC stablecoin in the past. He also said Ripple properly should have launched its own stablecoin sooner. Brad and David Schwartz's comments may seem like essentially veiled attacks on Tether's stablecoin, which currently holds a market cap of nearly $111 billion, according to the block price page. And they also said, we wish Ripple's team will... This is what Tether said. Tether is playing the nice card. They throw a little bit of shade at the beginning, but now they're playing the nice card. They said, and word for word, we wish Ripple's team will have more success with their new stablecoin than they've had so far. Ooh. A Tether spokesperson told Block Ripple declined to comment. They're throwing shade at each other, which is funny. I mean, look. Who wouldn't want to see a boxing match between two crypto CEOs? Because Tether is making this sly comment that XRP hasn't moved in price points so far. So maybe Ripple's new stablecoin can have some movement. Tether's CEO clapping back against any perceived negativity regarding USDT is nothing new. In February, Tether's CEO called JP Morgan, a word I cannot say on this live show, after the bank's analyst said USDT suffers from a lack of regulatory compliance and transparency, which is true. JP Morgan did say this last year. And therefore, it's a dominant market position and a negative for crypto, is what JP Morgan said. They said, Tether is bad for business, is what JP Morgan said. They said this last year, Tether is bad for business. We will never use Tether. There's many reasons why, and I'll tell you why at the end. So Brad appears to have assumed that the Tether CEO was in fact talking about him in the post because Ripple's CEO responded to the tweet. So this is what Ripple's CEO said, Brad, to Tether. I wasn't attacking Tether, he said. My point was that the US government has clearly indicated they want control over the US dollar-backed stablecoin issuers. And thus Tether, as the largest player, is in line of sight. So, Ripple's CEO coming out with a modest opinion on the matter. He's just saying, I wasn't throwing shade on, Tether being a dodgy project, which we all know they are. But he said, I wasn't throwing shade on Tether. I'm just pointing the obvious. The US government wants control of the US dollar stablecoin inside the crypto space, especially the number one US dollar crypto, essentially, project. Now, while Tether has been at times scrutinized by the US government, lately it's been taking measures to prevent the unsavory individuals from using the company's USDT stablecoin. It's true. Tether has been going around and then, essentially hiring new people from the White House and so on to make Tether a safe project moving forward. But till this day, we don't know what's backing Tether. We have zero clue of what's actually backing Tether, and they print more USDT, about a billion USDT recently they printed. And when they were asked the reason of why are you printing more USDT, they said, we're printing it for a rainy day, but it has no backing. And I said, if you're printing it for a rainy day, then why don't you print it on that particular rainy day? It's just a line of code and you press enter. Why print it now and keep it for 1 year's time? Just print it when you need it. It's digital money. But yeah, there's very multiple issues wrong with Tether. One, we don't know what's backing Tether. Two, they randomly print more money. Three, the Tron, essentially CEOs, they funnel quite a lot of money into USDT. USDT is backed by a lot of Chinese firms. There's so many issues wrong with USDT going forward for the United States. Big issues for the United States. Now, before we read the next news, it's this one. Hard to believe statements from fund manager Solana price could raise to $400. This is coming from Ryan, the chief investment officer of cryptocurrency fund manager at Tree Capital, Merkle Tree Capital. Is the next news we talk about tonight's live show. We've got Solana and Tree Capital fund manager talking about price points on Solana. But before we read that, let's go inside the comment section. Here we go. Mouse Gary Turpin is fitting. Turpin's fitting. Mouse, is it likely case ends 2 weeks after May 20th or July or August? There's a possibility it could end 2 weeks after. There's a possibility it could go up to July and August. There's also a possibility that, with the Bank of America yesterday announcing that July could be the situation. Regarding Bank of America, and what I mean by that is, if anybody missed the live show yesterday, I explained that Bank of America said that major things are in play. Bank of America came out and said major things are in play this month regarding banks positioning themselves, central banks positioning themselves this month. And then Bank of America said next month, July, is going to be a very crucial month. They said it's going to be a month that everybody remembers, is what Bank of America said. A Bank of America analyst said this. He said July is going to be a month that everybody will remember. And this month, central banks are positioning themselves. So it has relevance to that case as well. So it could be July as well. Of course, we know who it is. Yeah, of course we know who it is regarding Brad and the Tether CEO. Yeah, we said this last year. I'm talking about March of last year. Yes. Brad knows this regarding USDT, as Gary the Weasel told Brad in his closed door meeting. There's a possibility, honestly, there's a possibility that Gary Gensler, Weasel Gary Gensler, there's a possibility of him, essentially saying, we want USDT, try to make it happen. Will make your case go away. There's a possibility. There's always bigger fish to fry. USDT is just like the US dollar, made from nothing but air. Yep. Did you check the legitimacy of China building a blockchain for Belt and Road Initiative using CFX networks? USA Congress website in this PDF list. CFX as adversary blockchain. I had a look into it. Seemed all right. Can you explain market conditions and why XRP keeps dumping? Jim, good to see how you're doing. Regarding why XRP keeps on dumping is because there is still one case going on. It still hasn't ended. Technically, it has, and we're waiting for some sort of news. This is going to be how much essentially they're going to be paying moving forward. This case gets dropped, paid out, and case closed, then the dumping will stop. I print it when I want it. I print it when I want it. Mouse, can you print me 2 billion coins? CoinMove tokens, please. Can I print you 2 billion CoinMove tokens? Sure. After I print myself some 2 billion CoinMove tokens, I'll print you 2 billion CoinMove tokens as well. Anybody else want 2 billion CoinMove tokens for me to print for them? July or June? I thought you said June. No, the thing is July. Let me see. This is on yesterday's news. So I'm checking out yesterday's notes, and he said, Bank of America, rates. We got a glimpse of what June will so important decisions, but I always said altogether will be entering the most important months. June, yes. Sorry about that. June. Yep, Shelly's right. June. Yep. Thank you, Shelly, for pointing that out. Yeah, sorry for the notes. It was June. Yeah, not July, June. Sorry. Thank you, Shelly, for that. If XRP moves, XLM, XDC moving as well. Yep, that's true. When you expect market movements to confirm the crypto summer, when you expect when you expect market movements to confirm the crypto summer, well, the regulations is going to be when the more essentially institutions come into play. Institutions right now, we know that they're holding quite a bit, and I'm going to go through more banks that are actually holding cryptocurrency on tonight's live show as well. But the closer we get to more regulations is what we're expecting regarding market movements from institutional players coming inside the field. So based on regulations, we are getting close. I mean, countries are becoming stricter and stricter day by day. So as they become stricter, it means that this regulation is going to be put in place straight after. It could be a week or 2 weeks straight after it. The US can print their money, so whatever they want, I give you. So is holding CFX a good investment? CFX in general is a good project. CFX in general is a great project, in my preference. They have, beyond that, what you essentially talked about regarding the Belt Initiative, they have so many contracts in place with many high-profile institutional players. If USDT can print for a rainy day, why can't we, as the UK? It's always raining, which is a fair point. Gary Turman is messing with your documents, Miles. Gary Turman is messing with your documents. Now, the next news. Hard to believe. Statements from fund manager. Solana price could raise to $400, and here is why. According to Ryan, the chief investment officer of cryptocurrency fund manager Merkle Tree Capital, Solana is predicted to raise to $400 during the US elections in November, riding on the wave of election-themed meme coins. Now, yes, Solana is heavily into meme coins, and there are obviously it's not a recommendation for any sort of meme coins at all, but meme coins have propelled Solana to new heights. Now, they're also expecting them to go even higher during election year because we have Joe Biden tokens and Donald Trump tokens and Kennedy tokens on Solana. So two Solana-based altcoins, Joe Biden is what it's named as, Joe Biden, sorry, and Donald Trump, named after mashed up versions of the last two US presidents, were instrumentals in this prediction. These meme coins helped Solana surpass Ethereum in trading volume this Thursday. Meme coins will move deeper into the bull market, said McCallan, suggesting that these two altcoins will be actively traded in the coming months. The rise of these meme coins coincided with the former US President Donald Trump's strongest ever support for crypto and current President Joe Biden's threat last week to veto a pro-crypto bill, thus making cryptocurrencies election an issue. According to the analyst from Tree Capital, the volatility experienced in Solana due to this news is expected to restore investors' confidence in the blockchain. Investor confidence should not be restored inside of a blockchain regarding meme coins, which has been marred from outages over the years. While meme coins are ridiculous and short-term speculative, get facts. In my opinion, yes, definitely short-term regarding meme coins. They paved the way for other, more sustainable use cases, such as tokenization of real-world assets, which is true. Currently, Solana is trading around $136, which is still far from the all-time high of $260 set in November 2021. But according to McClellan, the increased transaction volume served as a real stress test for Solana network. Additionally, the analysts suggest that Solana's price will be supported by more liquidity entering the markets as the US Treasury takes steps to strengthen the economy. So if you are holding Solana, you could be reaching price points, not guaranteed in any sort of a way, but you could be reaching price points around November times of $400 per Solana, close to that sort of level, is what's suggested by one analyst. But he is from Tree Capital, and they have money in Tree Capital. So could what he be saying is correct? We'll have to see. But he is basing it on the election year. He's basing it on the meme coins after the election year possibility, not $400, but possibility of it going higher. Obviously not financial advice. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is this one. Hong Kong, Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs see $39 million outflows on Monday. Far side investors. reports. Before we read that, let's go to the comment section. If USDT can print, yep, rainy day, yep, based AI. Chozone, elaborate. Good evening, Miles and all CMF. Good to see you all. Iman, how you doing? How are you all doing today? I'm doing great, Iman. How you doing? Now, this one seems like a bit of a coordinated movement. Now, inside of the institutional play, there's always coordinated movements. This one seems very coordinated. Hong Kong Bitcoin and Ethereum ETF sees outflows. $39 million outflows on Monday. Far-side investors. The Hong Kong listed spot Bitcoin and Ether exchange traded funds, ETFs, saw heavy outflows on Monday following Bitcoin's drop below 61,000 on Friday. The spot Bitcoin ETFs from issuers China AMC, Harvest Global, as well as Bursa and Hashkey saw a combined $32.7 million in outflows on Monday, according to the data from far-side investors. This number is significantly higher than previous outflows, which hovered around $6 million mark. Monday marked the first time that all 6 crypto ETFs, including both Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs, reported negative outflows since their launch on May 2nd. Harvest Global had previously not yet seen outflows for its spot Bitcoin fund. Now, when you have a mixture of essentially crypto, when you have a mixture of ETFs, all of them have an outflow at the exact same day, it's coordinated from institutions. The spot Ether ETFs saw $6.6 million in outflows, which is also significantly higher than the past numbers. After 8 days of trading, investors pulled roughly $13 million out of the 6 ETFs, a disappointing result for the Asia-based ETFs when compared to the initial excitement phase around the US-listed counterparts. Many investors enthusiasts have pointed out that the overall Hong Kong-based ETF market is relatively small, with about $50 billion in assets in comparison. The ETF market space in the US is estimated at approximately $9 trillion in assets under management. Some rumors suggest that the mainland China investors have gained access to funds via Stock Connect, which would open the gates for a bigger investment base, but Hong Kong Stock Exchange told CoinDesk earlier on Monday that the rumors was false. Now, that seems extremely coordinated because the Bitcoin ETFs and the Ethereum ETFs, all of them had an outflow on the exact same day. Now, they've all been having inflows, and on Monday, today essentially, they all had an outflow at the exact same time. All of them. Every single one of them. They've only had inflows, but on the same day, they all had outflows. Very coordinated from institutions. But there is good news on the side, which is this. VanEck spot Bitcoin ETFs hold reports $109 million net increase in the first quarter, $620 million in BTC from regarding their filings. We can see now a new filing from the Securities and Exchange Commission regarding key figures for the spot Bitcoin exchange traded funds ETF hold issued by the digital asset arm of investment manager VanEck. For the first physical quarter ending March 31st, 2024, holds Bitcoin investment amounted to around 8,711 BTC for a value of $619 million, and the fund had a $109 million increase in net assets according to a Monday filing. Hold also saw $20 million in total liabilities and $6 million in net realized gains on its Bitcoin investments as of March 31st, as well as $8.2 million shares as of April 30th, 2024. The VanEck Bitcoin Trust, known by the ticker HOLD, is an investment vehicle that gains investors exposures to Bitcoin without needing them to hold the cryptocurrency itself. VanEck Digital Asset LLC is the fund's sponsor. HOLD's shares are listed on the stock exchange Cboe BZX. The SEC essentially approved the VanEck hold as well as 10 other spot Bitcoin ETFs on January 10th, 2024. Hold drew in $8.1 million on volume on May 10th. The Blockstater database showed this. So, yes, the Hong Kong situation very coordinated on the outflows, but on this side of the pond, essentially inside the Western markets, the ETFs are still doing extremely well for themselves. And talking about the ETFs doing well, this was an interesting one. Swiss banking giant UBS on Bitcoin ETF train. Now, they were very silent as well on their movements. According to a recent regulatory filing, Swiss banking giant UBS owns 3,600 shares of the BlackRock's iShare Bitcoin Trust, IBIT. Earlier this year, UBS decided to allow some of its customers to trade Bitcoin ETFs. However, accounts with lower level of risk tolerance are barred from getting exposure to the new funds. Moreover, UBS is not supposed to be soliciting Bitcoin ETF trades. In late 2023, the Swiss banking behemoth also let some of its unofficial clients gain exposure to cryptocurrency ETFs based in Hong Kong. As reported by You Today, UBS also appeared on the list of authorized participants for BlackRock's IBIT alongside such big names as Seattle and Goldman Sachs, which is true. BlackRock announced majorly that they're going to be adding a list of institutions alongside them moving forward on their Bitcoin ETFs. One of them was Goldman Sachs, one of them was Seattle, one of them was Citi, and the other one was UBS Bank. This is why the market's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. They're positioning themselves for big movements. And so many banks and so many institutions we know officially hold cryptocurrencies now because of their 13F filings. But they're all positioning themselves for a big move. Meanwhile, in 2021, former UBS CEO Ralph Hammers dismissed cryptocurrencies as speculation, arguing that they cannot be regarded as a legitimate investment, is what UBS Bank said. In 2021, UBS Bank said, yep, cryptocurrencies are, assets that nobody should go towards. They're essentially backed by nothing, it's a waste of time, and so on and so on. Fast forward to today from 2021, UBS Bank, according to their 13F filings, holds Bitcoin ETFs. Meanwhile, Bitcoin ETFs continue to gain traction despite a recent streak of outflows. On May 9th, Edmund de Rothschilds is what I shared on this live show as well. The Rothschilds, essentially, the Rothschilds Bank, one of the Rothschilds Bank in Switzerland, which is a part of the famous part of the Edmund de Rothschilds group, has acquired essentially $4.2 million worth of shares and Bitcoin ETFs as well. This, again, according to a 13F filing that was sent to the SEC. Last week, JP Morgan Chase, the lending US bank by asset management under management, disclosed Bitcoin ETF holdings as well. Very true. Trading firm Secure International Group, SIG, which was co-founded by the billionaire businessman Jeff Bezos, is also in the Bitcoin ETF train, according to their 13F filings. BlackRock's Robert Mitchum recently revealed that major institutions were in the process of exploring Bitcoin. You don't say, because before the 13F filings, everybody was guessing, does this bank hold Bitcoin? Does that bank hold crypto? Does this bank hold ETFs? Everybody was guessing before the 13F filings. Now we have the 13F filings. You don't say regarding BlackRock's Mitchum telling everybody that, so many institutions are crypto. Yes, we can see that for sure now because of their 13F filings. And with the best part is, when you see the banks that hated crypto on the news, with all of these banks, UBS Bank or JP Morgan or some of these other corporations, they were the same banks and same corporations that were on the news saying crypto is bad, crypto is nothing, crypto is this, crypto is that. And then when you see their 13F filings, they hold the crypto, they hold BTC ETFs and so on. And UBS Bank was one of them, again, that said crypto is bad, crypto is a waste of time, telling the public to stay away from BTC. And then fast forward to 2024, their 13F filings, they're holding BTC ETFs. Oh, it's just an amazing day when you catch people like this, these banks, these corporations, and their own BS, and their own puddle of BS, including UBS Bank. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is investment firm makes Bitcoin its strategic reserve. This one's an interesting play we're going to go from tonight's live show. Before we do that, let's go to the comment section. Also, if you have any questions, put it down in the comment section. I'm reading everybody's questions one by one. Gary Turpin is meeting. Based AI, the crypto project, is that what you mean? Is it good to buy Based AI? Chosen. I'll take a look at it, no problem. Miles, which would you choose between ACH or HBAR? They're both amazing projects, okay? ACH, amazing, humongous list of money transfer licensings, huge partnerships. HBAR has good partnerships as well, good path to be on as well. They're both going to do incredibly well. Now, I did say a while ago I would go, 60% HBAR, 40% ACH. I think I said, or 70% HBAR, or 60% AC. I mean, 70% HBAR and 30% ACH. Okay, what I would say is now I'd still say 60% HBAR, 40% ACH. If it's between those two, let's just say for example, if I have $500 or $100, for example, if I have $100, I will put 60% on HBAR, 40% on ACH. Yeah. Even if I go 50-50, it's still a good play. But I'll say 60% HBAR, 40% ACH. Based on only 35 million, you could do that with $1,000 and so on, but obviously not financial advice. 60-40. HBAR 60, 40 ACH. Based AI, only 35 million max supply and setting at $4 any potential. I'll take a look at their partnership list after this live show. No problem. Use their own words. When we use their own words against them. That's a tough one. It is a tough one regarding HBAR and ACH because they're both amazing projects. I'll say 60-40 though. Even if it's 50-50, it's perfectly fine. I'll say 60-40. Now we know why BTC has hit its all-time high in a short space of time. Yeah, of course we know. It's because thanks to the 13F filings. Yes, true, very true. I said this a while ago as well. When regarding the BTC ETFs, a while ago, when they first launched, obviously Grayscale being a downfall, a little bit of time passed, and then we saw the new money coming in, new heights for Bitcoin and so on. I was the only one inside the crypto space telling people, essentially on this live show that they're buying, it's the institutions that are buying. Everybody else, the majority of the crypto space, the influencers, they all said that it's the retail section buying the Bitcoin ETFs, it's the retail section buying the Bitcoin ETFs. I said, no, the retail section has no money. If they did, it's not coordinated, and they're not going to go for Bitcoin ETFs unless they're morons. I said the institutions are actually buying the Bitcoin ETFs. I said the institutions are the ones actually buying the Bitcoin ETFs. And the majority of crypto investors were saying, no, it's the retail section. That never made any sort of sense because the retail has no money to play around with. They're not coordinated either. But now we know who was right and who was wrong. As always, I was right. It was the institutions that were actually coming in heavy-footed on the Bitcoin ETFs. How do we know that? The 13F filings. I was the only one telling you the institutions are buying. I saw so many influencers saying, no, it's the retail section buying the Bitcoin ETFs. I said, no, they don't have any money. It's the institutions. And now we know it was the institutions, 13F filings. But I had my own documents back then to justify. That's a tough one. Regarding sport, yeah. ACH. Thanks, Miles. No problem, Shelly, anytime. Hey, Miles, how are you? Love for beauty. Good to see how you're doing. I'm doing great. How you doing? Now, this news. Investment firm makes Bitcoin its strategic reserve. Impact on price. Early stage investments firm Metaplanet announced today that it's adapting Bitcoin as its... This is what's interesting. They're adapting, it's a Japanese firm. They're adapting Bitcoin as their sole strategic treasury reserve asset for their entire company. This is the asset that's going to be backing their entire company. This audacious decision signals a growing confidence in the controversial cryptocurrency as a legitimate store of value and a hedge against traditional economic, essentially, situations. Yes, under pressure, Bitcoin on the rise. Metaplanet's decision comes amidst a backdrop of sustained economic pressures in Japan, a weakening yen, Japanese yen, coupled with high government debt levels and persistently low interest rates, seems to have pushed the firm to seek alternative havens for its reserves. This is going to be happening very soon. Bitcoin, with its infinite supply and decentralized nature, appears to be their answer. Bitcoin first, Bitcoin only approach is what they're doing. In a clear statement of intent, Metaplanet outlined its new Bitcoin first, Bitcoin only approach to treasury management. The company plans to strategically convert its existing Japanese yen liabilities and future share issuance into BTC. They're going full BTC. Their entire company, Metaplanet, the Japanese company, is about to go full headfirst into Bitcoin and back their entire company with Bitcoin, effectively accumulating more of the digital asset over time as well. This streak echoes the recent moves of the US-based MicroStrategy as well, which has become a majority institutional holder of Bitcoin, which is true as well. MicroStrategy became a full Bitcoin company as well. MicroStrategy was also another reason why Bitcoin reached new heights as well, with a cumulative of the Bitcoin ETFs. Meanwhile, the absolutely scarce asset. Metaplanet's press release paints a glowing picture of the top crypto asset potentials. They view it as a fundamentally superior to the traditional currencies and other investment options, highlighting its scarcity and lack of central issuer. They are impressed by Bitcoin's proof of work consensus mechanism, emphasizing how it creates a progressively higher cost of production for the remaining coins yet to be mined. This, they argue, stands a stark contrast to traditional commodities whose supply can be relayed increased. Following the footsteps of a corporate Bitcoin believer, there are clear parallels between essentially Metaplanet's strategy and of MicroStrategy. This US firm has aggressively assumed Bitcoin, currently holding over 1% of the entire circulating supply, which is true. MicroStrategy, Michael Saylor, is MSTR, in other words, is actually holding just about 1% of the total supply of Bitcoin, which is massive and impressive. Metaplanet, through smaller, has reportedly acquired 117 BTC since April, signaling their commitment to replicating this strategy. They've just started. While Metaplanet's decision reflects a growing institutional interest in Bitcoin, it also carries significant risks. Bitcoin's price remains highly volatile, with the potential for substantial losses if the market takes a downturn. Additionally, the regulatory landscape surrounding cryptocurrencies is still evolving, and the future regulations could negatively impact Bitcoin's volatility as a reserve asset, which is a possibility. A digital canary in the coal mine. Metaplanet's bold move serves as a fascinating case study. Their all-in bet on Bitcoin raises questions about the future of traditional reserve assets and the potential for wider option of cryptocurrencies by institutional investors. I said this before as well. Even if these institutions, some of them decide to go only for Bitcoin, they will see other assets. It will open their doors to the crypto space. It will open their doors to blockchain technology. It will make them understand. They'll start hiring new employees, creating a blockchain department. They'll start researching other blockchains, and it opens their doors to a wider range of cryptocurrencies. Even if some of them have to start off with Bitcoin, it opens the doors to other assets. But also, a lot of people, they see Bitcoin doing well, will create adoption for other crypto assets. It will. That's just how it works. And they are going, all in type of stuff. And what's interesting is they're not going for gold or silver. This particular, corporation isn't in Japan, isn't going for gold, silver, or any other asset to back their entire company with. They're getting rid of their Japanese yen as being a Japanese company and backing it all in gold, essentially backing it all in Bitcoin. Bold statement, honestly. Impact on Bitcoin's price. The company's investment was significant for a single firm, represents a relatively small portion of the total Bitcoin market capitalization. Yes, because there are humongous players inside the crypto space now. However, the news itself could generate positive sentiments and short-term price increases, especially if it entices other institutional investors to follow suit. If Metaplanet's strategy backfires, and they are forced to sell their Bitcoin holdings at a loss, it could trigger a broader sell-off and price decline. If it backfires, yes. Obviously, anything backfires, it could be a possibility, but very low possibility of Bitcoin backfiring. Ultimately, the long-term impact will depend on how this bold move by Metaplanet's plays out alongside broader market forces and evolving regulations. And I've said this before as well, regarding crypto assets. Some people might say, why is this institution only buying Bitcoin? Why is this institution not buying Ethereum? Why is this institution in Japan, not buying XLM, not buying Solana, not buying AVAX, not buying Cardano, not buying XRP? Some people might, say, and they have these genuine questions, inside the crypto space. Why is this Metaplanet, Japanese firm going for Bitcoin only inside the crypto space? First of all, they're going to start with Bitcoin. Second of all, they're going to expand into other crypto assets. Now, third of all, it does open their doors to other, as I said, other blockchain projects. And the most important one, fourth of all, every crypto is designed for a different purpose. So if this particular Japanese firm is going for Bitcoin, they mentioned why they're going for Bitcoin. They said they're going for Bitcoin as a reserve asset. That's what Bitcoin is. Bitcoin is digital gold. You leave it on the sidelines and you back your company, or you can, collateralize it and so on and so on. Now, if they were going to go for, in terms of tokenization, they'll probably go for, in these terms, they could go for Ethereum because that's what JP Morgan did. If they were going for transactions, they would have went for XRP. Every crypto project is designed for a different purpose going forward. So if they go for Bitcoin, just remember they're going in for that purpose. And if they want to expand into other areas inside the blockchain space, then they're going to choose another crypto project. And this is what I mean by, these crypto projects are going to be working alongside each other because they are designed for different purposes. They have their weaknesses and they have their strengths. When it comes to, in types of digital asset, nothing beats Bitcoin. If you want an asset that sits on the sidelines for the rest of your life, and as a digital gold, nothing will beat Bitcoin on the sidelines. If you want an asset for transactions, nothing will beat XRP in terms of transactions. If you want an asset to build on regarding so many smart contracts and so many options, then Ethereum will give you that option. Now, every blockchain is designed for a different purpose, and they have their strengths and they have their weaknesses. And regarding their strengths, nothing can beat them in their strengths. Nothing can beat XRP in terms of transactions. Regarding reliability of speed, nothing could beat Bitcoin in terms of being an asset on the sidelines. Nothing could beat Ethereum being regarding the easiest to build on. These are all the things that they have in their space, essentially. So if you're wondering the question of why is this Japanese company not buying the other crypto assets as a hedge, because they're not hedges. Only Bitcoin is. Ethereum is for smart contracts, XRP is for transactions, and so on and so on and so on. But they're going to start with this and expand in other areas. It's always in the question, the reason why they're buying it. So if you ever wondered why some particular institutions are only going for one particular asset, read why they're doing it. They're most likely going for an asset to leave on the sidelines. You can't buy XRP and leave it on the sidelines. You're supposed to use the XRP. You can't buy Ethereum and put it on the sidelines because you're supposed to build on it and use it also. That's why. But you can buy Bitcoin and leave it on the sidelines because nobody buys Bitcoin to buy a cup of coffee or Starbucks with it. Now, the next news to go from tonight's live show is billionaire Tim leads a $3.5 million investment in Bitcoin lending protocol. Not financial advice. I don't know why I said that. But yeah, not financial advice of what I said beforehand. But billionaire Tim is going to be leading a $3.5 million adventure into lending and borrowing services in cryptocurrencies. That is going to be huge as well, and I'll explain why as we go through it. But before we go through it, let's go inside the comment section. So the next thing we're going to talk about is lending and borrowing. That's a tough one. Yeah, thanks, Miles. No problem, Shelly. Anytime. Hi, Miles. How are you? I'm doing great. How you doing? Always ahead of the game, Miles. Let's go, Shelly. Thank you so much for the kind words. Your information is the most valuable of all crypto YouTubers I've seen. Really, thanks for your information. Love for beauty. Thank you so much for the kind words. Honestly, thank you so much for the kind words. There is no more gold or silver we're getting for the big guy, XRP. XRP, yeah. Is Hulu Chain a good coin and is it better than HBAR? Ooh. Look, Hulu Chain, good project, good coin. Long term, the developers are great. Is it better than HBAR? No. Is it a legitimate project? Yes. Hulu Chain is a legitimate project. Hulu Chain has in my opinion, a bright future still ahead of itself. And there was a study test that was released a while ago. Regarding this particular study test. So there's a study test that was released in 2023, where Hulu Chain could have a price point of $1. So, not that high, but it will be high depending on the price is sitting on right now. Trust me. $1 is a legitimate project. Hulu Chain is not a meme coin. It's a legitimate project. It's a Web3 data project. It's legitimate, fully legitimate. Great developers, been in the crypto space for years. And it's on every exchange. So they said, Hulu Chain could go to a price point of $1 by 2025. $1 by 2025. $1,000 will pick you up about 1 million tokens. $1,200, I think $1,500 will pick you up about 1 million tokens of Hulu Chain. Not financial advice at all. They said by 2020, the case study was quite interesting as well. And the gist of it in a very simplified way was $1 by 2025. Regarding Hulu Chain. Can it reach it? Who knows? You never know when it comes to the crypto space. This is the space where the most random thing can happen. A project that you think has fully died out could break records. A project that you think is going to break records will fully die out. The crypto space is a very interesting space. Now, but you can also tell from the contracts. Now, I have to say, over a year, and I love you, Miles. We are the best. Let's go, JP. Love you too, brother. You are the best. Now, billionaire Tim leads a $3.5 million investment in Bitcoin lending protocols. Now, lending borrowing is not going to be just for Bitcoin, it's going to be for other cryptocurrencies as well, but this investment is towards this pool. So, Tim has led a $3.5 million seed funding round in Zest Protocol, a Bitcoin lending startup company. This move marks a significant milestone in making decentralized finance, DeFi, accessible to the Bitcoin network, with notable contributions with industry giants like Binance Labs. A $3.5 million into Bitcoin lending ventures building on the Stacks blockchain Zest protocol aims to revolutionize Bitcoin lending. It seeks to allow BTC holders to utilize their assets in on-chain lending markets without intermediaries. The startup is leveraging the forthcoming upgrades of Stacks Nakamoto and SBTC. The founder of Zest protocol highlighted the limitations of Bitcoin's layer 1 technology in supporting basic DeFi operations like liquidity pools. Bitcoin's L2s like Stacks are set to play a key role in the upcoming Bitcoin DeFi. Unlike on Ethereum, the creation of basic DeFi provides such as a liquidity pools isn't possible on Bitcoin's layer 1. The Stacks SBTC upgrade is set to be a watershed moment for Bitcoin DeFi, which is what it's designed for from the beginning. The platform's use of SBTC peg-in-wire format lets users fund their transactions, direct transactions and activities as Zest protocol gears up for the SBTC launch. Its infrastructure is already operational on the Stacks mainnet, introducing the first money market for Stacks-based assets. Zest protocol was inhabited essentially as a trust machines co-founded by Stacks creators. Furthermore, it has been instrumental in developing the Stacks Nakamoto upgrade. I don't want to, this is what they said word for word regarding Zest Protocol's team. I don't want to just hold BTC. I want to use it. I've run many experiments to deploy BTC productively, but it hasn't been easy. I'm excited to see the team at Zest Protocol make it happen and look forward to using the product at once BTC deposits opens, regarding what Tim said. Beyond technology, the involvement of Binance Labs signifies a strong endorsement of Zest's approach to Bitcoin lending. Current solutions often depend on centralized parties, introducing fees and reducing economic feasibilities for users. Zest's model promises transparency and user control, eliminating unnecessary intermediaries. This statement is a part of a broader resurgence, essentially in crypto leading initiatives, evidenced by recent funding activities across the sector. Tim's continued investment in blockchain shows a confidence in Bitcoin-based financial services, and Matthias Greenspan, CEO at Quantum Economics, the opportunities such as a market sector can offer. This is what he said, word for word. Blockchain-based leading solutions have the potential to be more open and transparent than what you typically find in traditional finance, which is true. However, at this time, while DeFi is still in the diapers, These types of investments can be extremely risky, especially for those who don't know how to do research. For what it's worth, Tim is a pretty savvy guy, and I would assume that he's likely done his homework before moving forward with such an investment. Okay, now regarding lending and borrowing services when it comes to cryptocurrencies, as I said at the beginning when I was reading it, it's not just unique for Bitcoin. It's going to be a wide range of crypto assets. And one of the banks, as I've said regarding this bank multiple times, but one of the banks that's going to be in this play is HSBC Bank. HSBC Bank and Standard Chartered Bank as well. They're going to be offering lending and borrowing services when it comes to crypto assets, which means you can use your crypto assets, not just Bitcoin, but Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, XLM, a range of cryptocurrencies. You can borrow against them from these major established banks, use them as collateral to borrow against them and to escape tax. Because why else would you borrow against your cryptocurrencies? It's what the institutional players are going to be doing. All of these institutional players that are coming in and going for BTC ETFs, they're going to be using their BTC ETFs to borrow against them, use them as collateral. They've already talked about this. And they're also going to be using the other Bitcoins that they do hold to use it as collateral and borrow against it as well. Or Ethereum that they hold to use it as collateral and borrow against it. The institutions aren't going to be selling off their digital assets unless they really have to, if they file for Chapter 11 or Chapter 15 bankruptcy. Otherwise, they'll borrow against it. There's not going to be a single institution that randomly decides to sell their assets unless they really have to, or to manipulate the market space on according to the movement. But other than that, they're going to borrow against it because that's a smart move to do, because you don't pay tax on debt. And that's why I said a very long time ago that you want to, essentially be using your crypto assets as collateral to borrow against them. Obviously, not financial advice in any sort of a way, but it's something that I'm going to be doing, because why do I have to pay tax when I could borrow against it and use it as collateral and skip tax in a very legitimate way? The same move that all these institutions will be playing. And you have banks like HSBC going into it, Standard Chartered Bank going into it, and they operate worldwide. So you don't have to leave your country either. You don't have to go, to Dubai or to Saudi Arabia or to Kuwait or Bahrain. You can stay wherever you are in any country and just borrow against it. That's it, because you don't pay tax on debt. And we're going to see more crypto projects doing this, more platforms doing this regarding lending and servicing borrowing. But now, there are crypto projects out there, crypto platforms that let you borrow against your crypto assets, but I wouldn't use them for the time being. Wait for the market to get regulated. That's what I'm going to be doing. Now, I know, for example, like Nexo, you can borrow against your crypto assets and so on, but it's not something I want to be going for, because I want to wait for the regulations. So when I do borrow against a bank, or when I do borrow against a crypto asset, a crypto platform down the line, my assets don't get frozen by the SEC or the CFTC or the FCA, and the list just goes on with all the jurisdictions around the world. But when we have regulations, I can comfortably borrow against my crypto assets, knowing that they won't be frozen because the platform I borrowed from doesn't have a license to operate. So personally, I'm going to be waiting for the regulations, so everybody gets license, so everybody can operate within the law, and then borrow against it and not pay tax. Because if I sell, I'm not paying those taxes. Well, I have to if I sell. But if I don't, I can borrow against it and borrow and borrow and borrow and borrow. Obviously pay it back, but borrow and borrow and borrow. But we're going to see more platforms coming in like this. More platforms, more crypto platforms coming into the play like this one. They're going to be more and more. Now, major news. Just in. Bank of Montreal, a $1.3 trillion bank, essentially. $1.3 trillion bank. Just in, Bank of Montreal reveals spot Bitcoin ETF holdings. Bank of Montreal was another bank who was silent on their BTC holdings, or their crypto holders in general. But now we're finding out who holds them. Every single institution that's coming out, everybody, if I'm the only one inside the crypto space right now still talking about the F13 filings, because day by day we're getting more banks and more institutions coming out saying, they hold crypto. And they can't lie. It's the F13 filings. They have to file that to the SEC. So now we know officially who holds crypto and who doesn't regarding institutions. And there are so many banks and so many institutions that are holding Bitcoin, that are holding crypto assets, and they were silent Not a peak came out of them inside the news that any of them were holding cryptocurrencies. But they're all holding it because their 13F filings shows. So, the topic of know what you hold, definitely know what you hold. Crypto's not going anywhere. Well, the legitimate ones aren't. And the next bank we're going to talk about is a $1.3 trillion bank, Bank of Montreal, BTC Holdings. Not once a peak came out of Bank of Montreal that were holding BTC ETFs. And still hasn't. But the only reason we know, 13F filings. They have to file that document and put what cryptos they have. But I said a very long time ago that all these banks, all these institutions are in the play. I said this a very long time ago. All these banks, all these institutions are inside the crypto play. And I revealed it, and I said this based on their PDF documents. And now we're seeing their F13 filings as well. So some, maybe they could keep it off the books, but regarding their 13F filings, they can't keep it off the books. Is Hulu chain? Yep, we were here. What month can you expect more integration of institutions to push the price higher? We're not that far off from the institutions going heavy-footed. But before the institutions come heavy-footed into the play, this year especially, before they come heavy-footed into the play, we need a little bit of regulations. We need 1 or 2 regulations to come into play that's making institutions go heavy-footed into the play. And they're going to do that this year. There's going to be regulations this year so they can come in heavy-footed. Now, one of them being Turkey removing futures trading. The entire country of Turkey. And I said, some people might not see that as big news, but Turkey has a humongous amount of inflow of money coming into the market space, because Turkey's crypto space is huge, massive. And the news of today, they're coming out, they're going to be banning futures. That's a good sign for institutions. Now the retail section might see, they won't let me short and long the markets. That's what the retail section will see. But if you're smart enough, you'll be able to see through that. Even as a trader, if you're smart enough, you'll be able to see through that, and you realize that they're doing this because they want the market to be less volatile. When you get rid of futures, the market becomes less volatile. The crypto space is too volatile, extremely volatile. I'm not saying it's going to be, no volatility whatsoever, when the market has no futures trading and the market is just stabilizing. No, it's still going to be volatile, but not as volatile with futures trading. So when they get rid of futures trading, and more jurisdictions are going to be following it around the world, globally, they're going to be removing futures, which means the market becomes more stable. Now, if you're smart enough, you realize that means if the market becomes a bit more stable, less volatile, what does that mean next? Institutions. Because they're all holding it. Their 13F filings show they're holding cryptocurrencies. And some of them are holding crypto assets in their portfolios. Okay, and worldwide type of portfolio situation. We've seen Grayscale is holding a multitude of assets in their crypto portfolios. And we have the banks and institutions, one day by day, coming out with the 13F filings sent to the SEC of how much cryptos they're actually holding. So we know they're holding. But obviously they want to go much more heavier. And if they want to go much more heavier, they got to have control of the market space. These institutions aren't going to be pouring their money into the crypto space if it's a volatile space. And the retail section can mess with their heads. By eliminating futures trading, they can control the market space. They can make it a bit more stable, less volatile, which means they can come heavy-footed. So that's your first indication. Turkey banning futures trading. That's your first indication. Banks are essentially Turkey banning futures trading. Not just Turkey, there was a multitude of jurisdictions around the world going for the same process. But they're doing this so they can have control of the market space. That's what a smart trader will see through. A regular trader would look at that and go, oh, they won't let me futures trade. But look at the other side. They're going to come heavy-footed. Sorry, everyone. Voice to text. Lol. JP, are you typing or are you writing? What about... Here we go. What is the list of projects that banks are holding? Well, we know that Grayscale is holding their own crypto portfolio. Some of these corporations are holding their crypto portfolios in the multitude of crypto assets. Now, the ones that are coming out with their 13F filings, they have to show essentially their ETF holdings. So their 13F filings shows their ETF holdings. The majority of them are all just holding Bitcoin ETFs. Banks are holding BTC, ETH, the big players, yes. Now, there's also a multitude of banks. Well, there's also a multitude of banks also holding other assets in their crypto portfolios. Now, their 13F filings is just for their ETFs they have to show, so they can keep their portfolios public or private, but any ETFs have to be reported. Bank of Montreal. So now going to this news. Bank of Montreal has disclosed its exposure to spot Bitcoin ETFs in a recent Securities and Exchange Commission (SEC) filing. In a recent filing, the bank disclosed the spot ETF holdings with multiple issuers. This comes on the heels of Bitcoin ETF acquisitions by financial traditional, essentially finance firms. The Bank of Montreal, which is Canada's fourth largest bank, has an ETF position with the four issuers, including Fidelity FBTC, Franklin Templeton EZBC, BlackRock's IBIT, and Grayscale's GBTC. They're holding essentially BTC ETFs in a multitude of BTC ETFs. This move is significant for the crypto community because the bank controls over $1 trillion worth of assets, about $1.3 trillion. Bank of Montreal joins the bandwagon. The SEC's approval of Bitcoin ETFs on January 11th has led to traditional institutions increase their exposures to the asset as predicted. This is due to an ETF being a new window of investments and underlying asset. Last week, Wells Fargo, the United States' third largest bank, revealed its exposure to spot Bitcoin ETFs in a recent SEC filing, which is true as well. Similarly, JP Morgan's case as well, being revealed regarding ETF holdings and accumulation as well. And spot Bitcoin ETFs have changed the narrative. They definitely have. Last year, the crypto market sought to rebound from low prices of 2022. The new upwards trajectory was triggered by BlackRock's ETF application, which sparked other firms in the same line. In December, heightened institutional flows saw the price of the asset above $44,000, a figure which soared past $72,000 after approval in January. The spot Bitcoin ETF inflows surged in the first quarter of 2024, dominating market spaces with billions entering the scene, which is true, all of it. But yeah, all of these banks are all filing for their 13F filings, and day by day we're finding out new ones. Today we found out UBS Bank is holding Bitcoin ETFs. Today we found out essentially that not just UBS Bank is holding, massive Swiss bank is holding Bitcoin ETFs. They was very silent as well. UBS Bank, on the news, hated cryptocurrencies, but on their 13F filings they're holding Bitcoin ETFs. JP Morgan hated cryptocurrencies, but on their 30th filings, they're holding essentially Bitcoin ETFs. They hated Bitcoin ETFs. And Bank of Montreal, fourth largest bank in Canada, $1.3 trillion worth of assets. They never said a single word they're holding Bitcoin ETFs, and they do. And still, a lot of people inside the crypto space don't know that the fourth largest bank in Canada holds holds Bitcoin ETFs. Still, they don't know. A lot of people inside the crypto space because nobody pays attention to the PDF documents, and they should be. Now, the next news to go through on tonight's live show is El Salvador. El Salvador launches Bitcoin reserves tracker website. Full transparency, El Salvador's going for. Interesting play. Now, before we go through that, let's go inside the comment section. Miles? Miles, where can we see these institutions holding their portfolios as a public knowledge? It is. Some of it is, yes. Grayscales is public knowledge. Miles, have you updated your profile? Yes, I have. I'll upload it inside the Telegram group. Yes, Grayscales is public. A few other banks institutions, they're public as well. Some like to keep it private. Miles, how can I find out which other major banks are involved also in Canada? Go to the SEC, check out for the 13F filings, and see which one comes up regarding Canada. Now I understand why sometimes your comments make no sense with text. People type in on the account long. Now, El Salvador. El Salvador launches Bitcoin reserves tracker website. El Salvador has recently unveiled its proof of reserve platform. Obviously, we know El Salvador is a full, Bitcoin essentially country moving forward. A website that allows for real-time monitoring of the nation's Bitcoin holdings through on-chain data. El Salvador is the first country in the entire world to show full transparency to its people. A government that is showing full transparency to its people. I think more governments should learn from El Salvador. The website is hosted at bitcoin.gov.sv, and it offers tools to obtain insights into the country's cryptocurrency reserves. The South African country currently holds the South American country, the South American country currently holds about 5,748 BTC, different continents there, valued at approximately $360 million according to current exchange rates. According to the data displayed on the platform, the nation has accumulated 31 BTC over the last month, valued at $1.94 million. In the past week alone, El Salvador has acquired 7 BTC worth over $438,000, which in line with its daily accumulation objective. Since 2021, El Salvador has strategically invested in Bitcoin after being the first country to adapt Bitcoin as a legal tender under President Najib leadership. The country employs a dollar cost averaging strategy with an average buying price of $43,097 per BTC. This approach has resulted in unrealized profits of over $57.4 million on its Bitcoin holdings, as indicated by the president on the Portfolio Tracker website. According to the president, the objective was to foster financial inclusion, streamline remittance payments, and attract financial innovation. Venture capitalist Tim has suggested that El Salvador's Bitcoin holdings could lead to financial independence. He projected that if Bitcoin reaches $100,000, the country could pay off its loans to the International Monetary Fund, which is true. In another development, Bitfinex Securities recently launched tokenized debt bonds in El Salvador after being the first licensed platform under the nation's digital asset security laws. These bonds trading under the ticker HLSV on the Liquid network are set to raise $6.25 million in offerings. Investors a 10% coupon over a 5-year term with a minimum stake of $1,000. It's basically they're building a hotel. El Salvador is also the first one doing this as well. They're building a Hilton hotel for tokenization purposes, which people can invest into. But the interesting part is El Salvador, the first ever country in the entire world to go fully public on something quite major. I mean, the world is going digital. I mean, we know, for example, America holds Bitcoin, Russia holds Bitcoin. A lot of jurisdictions hold Bitcoin, but not a single one of them is going to build a website so the retail section can log onto the website and see what America is doing with their Bitcoins, or what Russia is doing with their Bitcoins, or what the UK or any other nation is doing with their Bitcoins. Honestly, the president of El Salvador, a lot of people could, learn a lot from him. A lot from him. I mean, he did fire most of the politicians. Good on him. The majority of politicians, they're just there as beggars. I've always said this: politicians are 9 to 5 beggars. Essentially, is what they are. They just go in for more donations. Please, sir, can I have some more Oliver Twist? Is what a politician is. That's what I see politicians as, honestly. But also, the International Monetary Fund has an interesting story about that as well. The International Monetary Fund actually tried to bribe El Salvador's president. So the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, went to essentially El Salvador and said, we'll get rid of your debt and we'll borrow you more money. Just remove Bitcoin from your country. Don't use Bitcoin as legal tender. Remove it from your country. And then, as the International Monetary Fund, we'll, forget about that debt you owe us, and, we'll work together and borrow you more money. The president of El Salvador, in a very simple manner, said, stick it where the sun don't shine, to the IMF, and said, nope, we're holding our Bitcoin and we're going to be buying more Bitcoin and we're going to become a Bitcoin country or a cryptocurrency country. And that didn't go really too well with the IMF in any sort of a way. But yeah, they did try to bribe him. Now, well, honestly, amazing. Honestly, more countries should follow El Salvador in their footsteps on becoming transparent with your people. Something a lot of governments struggle to do. Now, we have come to the endings of this live show as well. If you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. And we're going to do a gist of everything we talked about as well, just in case anybody tuned in late. Into tonight's live show as well. So we talked about obviously the El Salvador, full transparency regarding Bitcoin. We talked about Montreal Bank, the fourth largest bank, $1.3 trillion assets under management, also holding Bitcoin ETFs regarding their 13F filings. We talked about lending and borrowing, a new platform coming out, Zest Protocol, that's getting funding from Binance and a few investors. We talked about the investment from essentially Metaplanet, the Japanese company that's going full Bitcoin, backing their entire company with Bitcoin as they move forward. We talked about the Swiss banking giant on this live show as well, UBS Bank, essentially going on the Bitcoin ETF train. Recently, we found this out as well because of their Bitcoin, because of their 13F filings with the SEC. We know that they also hold Bitcoin ETFs. We talked about the Van X report regarding how well are they doing in the spot ETF race. Quite well, actually. We talked about Hong Kong and their Bitcoin outflow and Ethereum outflows regarding the ETFs, which was very coordinated on the exact same day. We talked about on this live show also hard to believe statement from a fund manager from Tree Hill and Tree Capital that Solana could be seeing new price points regarding election time because of the meme coin collection that's going on in Solana, especially the meme coins that are relatable to the election time. We also talked about Tether's CEO versus Ripple's CEO, Brad, and how they're going head to head, essentially. Tether's CEO throwing smug comments towards Brad, the CEO of Ripple, and Brad's CEO just stating the obvious. Tether is going to be investigated by USDT, but Tether's CEO didn't like the way Brad said it and started throwing smug comments back at Brad and Ripple. Then we also talked about, so there could be a possibility of a celebrity boxing match between a blockchain boxing match between Ripple's CEO and Tether's CEO. My money's on Brad. We also talked about Senator Cynthia Luminous and other members of the governing body as well, that they did vote in to have some crypto laws, but obviously Sleepy Joe woke up from bedtime and decided to veto the law. We also talked about on tonight's live show regarding the Australian Tax Office and other jurisdictions implementing tax rules for cryptocurrencies, and it's all about self-snitching if you really don't want to do that to yourself. We also talked about the essentially the SEC, wasting everybody's time again regarding that manner. We also talked about the unexpected developments in Turkey on this live show as well, how they're going to be banning futures trading, which is good if you can see beyond the futures trading because it means it becomes less volatile as a crypto space. And Turkey is humongous regarding the inflows, and more institutions will enter the playing fields when the market becomes more stable. We also talked about Certic and how they came out and said that there's a 5 million compromisation going on, and Certic is very good at finding out, if there is any sort of compromisations in different crypto projects and blockchains. They're a massive security, venture inside the crypto space. And they did find out that there is a wormhole bridge and APTOS crypto project. A lot of people do hold that, and they are fixing a bug right now within that system, so there's no more leakage of money. And we also talked about Falcon X on this live show as well, right at the beginning of the live show, and regarding the CFTC and how they've settled, and they're going to be paying their fines. Another crypto project has just settled with CFTC, and they're going to be paying their fines. And so far, the SEC isn't able to do anything. The SEC hasn't closed one case yet. CFTC is closing quite a lot of cases, a lot more faster rate. Maybe the SEC can learn something from the CFTC, hopefully. So we have reached the endings of this live show, and we talked about a lot of mixture of news on tonight's live show. Some bad, some interesting, and some good. We talked about on this live show as well. Some bullish news as well, and regarding the banking news and who's actually holding it. So, and also the Metaplanet going full first, head first. I just want to say, honestly, if you enjoyed this live show, drop a follow, drop a like, and tune into it every single night. It's called the CMF live show that I'm doing every single night, and the CMF members are all inside the comment section as well. All of them are absolutely amazing people, the CMF members. And we also have a Telegram group as well if anybody wants to join. It's completely free. Everything I do is completely free, and anybody's more than welcome to join it. And everyone inside the CMF is absolutely amazing as well. And they're all inside the comment section, as you can see. And so I do this live show live on YouTube, live on X, at the exact same time, 11:25 p.m. UK time. This live show starts on X and on YouTube Live. You can tune in on both sides. If you're watching us on X, drop a follow and tune into it every single night. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe and tune into it every single night as well. Welcome to the CMF if you did follow me during this live show. And get inside the comment section as well. So, we have come to the endings of this live show, which means I'm going to be doing the outro now. CMF, thank you so much to every single person from the CMF that was, that tunes in every single night on YouTube or X, and likes on YouTube and on X, and retweets this live show. Thank you so much to every single one of you that retweets this live show on X. It does, spread the CMF out there inside the X community, and it does grow our family. So thanks so much to everybody that's been retweeting on X as well. This has been episode 54 of the CMF live show. I've been doing this for over a year now, but we used to do it on a different platform. Now we're doing it on YouTube and X, and this is episode 54 of the CMF live show. I can't believe we made it to episode 54. We're doing it every single day as well. Absolutely amazing. So, good night, Miles and all CMF. Iman, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual as well. See you tomorrow, brother, sometimes usual. Just landed back from Boston, voice to text. Okay. Thanks, Miles. Free and forever. No problem, anytime. Iman, see you tomorrow, sometimes usual. Thank you once again. Let's go. I will take that as a green salt. No governments give anything. JP, see you tomorrow, same time as usual, brother. Iman, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. Good night, Miles and all CMF. Mike, see you tomorrow, same time as usual. See you tomorrow, brother, same time as usual. Shelly, thanks, Miles, much appreciated. Let's go. Shelly, see you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. And good night, Miles and CMF. Freedom forever. See you tomorrow, same time as usual as well. Let's go. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Honestly, I'll see everybody tomorrow, same timing as usual. Everybody have a great day or a good night, depending on where you are around the world. See everybody tomorrow, same time as usual.